This was a massive spot to be in for such a young talent, to have a sold-out crowd completely behind her.
Eala from the Philippines could be the next big thing in pro tennis.
This is the goal, to do well on the WTA Tour. I'm super proud of what I was able to accomplish, but the end goal is to win slams.
Alex Eala just made history, and the tennis world is still catching its breath. She arrived in Dubai ranked number 47, took down a top 10 opponent, powered her way into the quarterfinals of a WTA 1000 event, and left with the highest ranking ever achieved by a Filipino tennis player. The numbers are out. The message is clear. And the rest of the tour is definitely paying attention. What do you think? Can Alex Eala break into the top 20 before the French Open? And how deep do you see her going at Indian Wells Open and the Miami Open?
New career high para kay Pinay tennis star Alex Eala ang kanyang ranking ngayon sa Women's Tennis Association.
Let's start with the number, because the number tells the whole story. World number 32. That's where Alex Eala now stands in the Women's Tennis Association rankings after her quarterfinal run at the Dubai Duty-Free Tennis Championships. She arrived in Dubai ranked 47 TH. She leaves ranked 32 ND. A 15-spot jump from one tournament. She didn't win the title. She didn't reach the final. She exited in the quarterfinals, losing in straight sets to the third seed. And yet, she walks away with a new career high, and more than that, the highest ranking ever achieved by a Filipino tennis player in the Open era.
Pause on that.
This isn't just her personal best. It's a national milestone. No Filipino player has ever climbed this high in modern professional tennis. At just 20 years old, she has entered territory no one from her country has reached before, and she did it in a tournament she didn't even win. Now, here's why the jump is so significant. A WTA 1000 event sits just below the Grand Slams in the ranking hierarchy. Reaching the quarterfinals earns 215 ranking points, a massive haul. At smaller tournaments, accumulating that many points could take months of steady results. In 1 week in Dubai, Eala banked what might otherwise require multiple deep runs at lower-tier events. That's how the ranking system works. Step up on the biggest stage, and the rewards scale dramatically. Those 215 points stacked onto the foundation she'd already built. And that's how you move from 47 to 32 in a single swing. But number 32 isn't just a feel-good number. It's strategically powerful. 32 is the seeding cutoff at Grand Slams. Being ranked inside the top 32 guarantees a seeded spot at the Australian Open, French Open, Wimbledon Championships, and the US Open. And seeding changes everything as a seeded player. You cannot face another seed until at least the third round. That means protection from the tournament's elite in the opening rounds. It gives you space to settle, build rhythm, and let your level rise before running into the very top of the field. For Eala, this isn't just a ranking update. It's a shift in how our entire 2026 season can unfold. The immediate focus now shifts to the French Open, where Alex Eala exited in the first round in 2025, a result she'll be eager to rewrite. Arriving in Paris in 2026 as a likely top 32 seed fundamentally changes her tournament trajectory, shielding her from facing another seeded player until at least the third round and giving her a structurally protected path to build momentum. Considering she now holds a balanced 3-3 record against top 10 opponents, that protection matters. Before Paris, however, the spotlight turns to the American swing. Indian Wells Open beginning March 4th and the Miami Open on March 17th, both mandatory WTA 1000 events offering massive ranking rewards, with 1,000 points for a title, 650 for a finalist, and 390 for a semi-finalist. In a 96-player draw, a seed receives a first-round bye, starting fresh in round 2 while others battle early, an advantage that compounds over 2 demanding weeks. The gap between number 32 and number 20 sits roughly in the 800 to 1,000 point range, sizable, but not unreachable across these events. Back-to-back round of 16 finishes would add valuable points, while a semi-final run at either tournament would significantly accelerate her climb. And Miami, in particular, is not hypothetical optimism, it's proven ground. In 2025, She entered as a wild card ranked outside the top 100 and stunned the field by defeating Elena Ostapenko, then world number 5 Madison Keys, and world number 1 Iga Swiatek in straight sets to reach the semifinals, announcing herself globally in a way smaller tournaments never could. Her left-handed topspin patterns, aggressive baseline play, and court coverage shaped by years at the Rafa Nadal Academy translated under the highest pressure and the Miami atmosphere, bolstered by a strong Filipino community, clearly suits her. The difference now is scale. She won't arrive as an unknown wild card. She'll arrive as world number 32, seeded, protected, battle-tested, and carrying the confidence of a Dubai breakthrough, making her 2026 Miami campaign an entirely different and far more dangerous proposition. The Filipino community factor during the American swing isn't sentimental background noise. It's a real competitive variable. In California and Florida, where events like the Indian Wells Open and the Miami Open take place, there are large Filipino populations that turn out in force for Alex Eala. The atmosphere shifts from traditional, restrained tennis applause to something louder, more emotional, almost basketball-like in intensity. For many players from the WTA's European base, whether French, Czech, Romanian, or Polish, that kind of unified, flag-waving crowd support can be unsettling. Eala herself has said that competing in the United States never feels like playing away from home, and in tight third sets or physically draining moments, that surge of crowd energy becomes an advantage her opponent simply doesn't share. It's a psychological edge that has shown up repeatedly in her American results. Her quarterfinal loss in Dubai to Coco Gauff was also instructive. Two areas stood out: late-week physical management and serve efficiency under pressure. Neither is structural or permanent. Fitness can be sharpened through recovery protocols, conditioning tweaks, and focused tournament pacing, precisely the kind of preparation emphasized at the Rafa Nadal Academy. The serve is a longer-term evolution. Increasing pace and tightening margins may initially produce more double faults as adjustments settle, but that short-term volatility is often the pathway to long-term gains. Many elite players experience a temporary statistical dip before a serve becomes a genuine weapon. Eala and her coach Juan Bosch are fully aware of the trajectory. What Dubai ultimately confirmed, however, is that her mental framework is already elite. Saving and converting multiple match points against Jasmine Paolini in a chaotic tiebreak, finishing with a fearless forehand up the line, revealed a player who doesn't fracture when tension peaks. At 20 years old, in a WTA 1000 quarterfinal against a top 10 opponent, many would tighten. She accelerated. That level of composure under pressure isn't easily taught. It's revealed. And in Dubai, it was undeniable. Reaching world number 32 is more than a ranking milestone. It's a national breakthrough and a signal that her rise is built on foundations that extend far beyond one tournament run. The historical weight of this moment stretches far beyond sport. Tennis in the Philippines has long been fueled by aspiration, but it had never produced a player capable of sustaining results at the highest professional level until now. Alex Eala isn't just winning matches, she's establishing proof of concept for an entire nation's place in elite tennis. From picking up a racket at 4 years old under the guidance of her late grandfather, to her family's decision to send her to the Rafa Nadal Academy in Mallorca as a teenager, to navigating the leap from junior dominance to the professional tour, none of it guaranteed a rise to world number 32. Every player ranked between 1 and 31 has their own story of sacrifice and investment. Eala's journey has now produced something unprecedented for her country, the highest ranking ever achieved by a Filipino tennis player in the Open era. And the rest of the tour sees it. 3 weeks ago, she was number 47. Now she's number 32. The same player who reached the semifinals of the Miami Open as a wild card ranked outside the top 100 will return as a seeded player with a career-high ranking. She owns wins over 3 top 10 opponents, has never been overwhelmed on the big stage, and is heading into the 2 biggest non-Grand Slam events on the calendar, the Indian Wells Open and Miami, with momentum, confidence, and crowds in California and Florida ready to back her like a home favorite. If there's tension among her rivals, it's understandable. The numbers justify it. Indian Wells begins March 4th, and this story is accelerating, not slowing down. World number 32. A new career high. A national milestone achieved in a tournament she didn't even win. She walked out of Dubai after a quarterfinal loss and somehow made history anyway. 3 weeks from now, the spotlight shifts to the desert, and the entire tennis world will be watching.